Welcome to the Soul Mirror. I'm your host, Shreya. Today we are diving into a realm where logic often fails, but transformation becomes undeniable. A space where impossibilities bend, deep rooted patterns unravel, and the human spirit learns to reveal itself. And to guide us through the extraordinary landscape, we're joined by someone whose work has helped thousands people to reclaim their power in record time. Mridula Agarwal. Let's step into the world of rapid breakthroughs, soul level rewriting, rewiring, and solutions that go far beyond the surface. Welcome, Mridula. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Shreya. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
And Mridula, when people say a problem is unsolvable, what do you think they are actually describing underneath the surface?
So there are a variety of statements I've heard around the unsolvable problems, or you don't get it. I am stuck in a meaningless relationship. I cannot work out. I have kids in this marriage, or we are together since a very long time. I have unhealthy attachment issues. So
Hmm.
in their head, how they are seeing the situation is I already have someone with whom I'm not absolutely happy, but I'm used to this person and my attachment is not going to let me walk away. And they cook up millions of ways to explain itself themselves to themselves that this is an unsolvable problem because the person is not going to change. I am not going to change. These are the underlying thought processes of belief that they have learned over the passage of time, that if we are stuck in a problem, it's going to be like this. Karma always deals a bad hand. Some very unpopular but common beliefs are not everything in the life is going to be perfect. You have to live with the problem. Now, in that moment, with these variety of self talk and conditioning and learning to adjust, every problem that they come across, they kind of label it as unsolvable because then it is easier and that allows them to be a victim and to show that they are just putting on a brave front, trying to deal with the problem as it is because they are powerless to make a change. So, when somebody describes that this problem is unsolvable, the first guess is they have not done anything, they have not done everything in their power to explore solutions, meaning they have put blinkers, which has blinded them in their vision, not allowing to fully see the situation, comprehend the situation, recognize all the areas wherein they can make changes and break out of the loop. So it is not that the problem is unsolvable. It is that people often get so much caught up in their own internal world that they forget to take a reality check and keep up with the times of what really is happening, what is relevant today. Is it really true that you are stuck, or it is that you have not tried hard enough or differently enough?
That's so beautiful. And thank you for sharing this and explaining this to our audience. That every kind of audience can understand this very easily. And have you noticed a common emotional or subconscious trait across such cases?
Yes. So across the context, I have been hearing, success, that always slips away. Like I keep working and I keep working and I keep working, but it is always some other person who takes away the credit. I'm the first one to come in the office, last one to leave, but I'm the last one to get appraisal or a raise. I'm in a relationship wherein I'm grieving. I'm not entirely happy, but I cannot exit. I don't know why I feel I've always been unwell. It's just stress. I know it's just stress. And couple of years later, they may be diagnosed with something chronic. And no matter what they have done medically, it's just never enough to fully recover them. So now, if everywhere or in any one area of your life, you've gotten very badly stuck, rather than sinking into the victim mode or why life did this to me mode, or I am stuck in it and nothing can happen out of it mode. That, it is karma which is punishing me. If we ask ourselves a deeper question, then what is my life trying to teach me out of this challenge? We all play video games and there are levels, level one, level two, level three. And after you've cracked the level, the game doesn't get easy. It gets more challenging and more fun in a different way. Because now that you have learned the game, you can now proceed level by level. So, if you think of a problem as a level, like a gaming challenge, meaning there is a way out of it, which you have to figure out.
Yeah.
And then you delve into it from the frame that my life is a mirror. What is it that I need to change about myself or that to change the situation? Or what is it? How is it that I've created this problem in my life? So, for example, if someone is having trust issues with other people, I cannot trust people, I cannot trust people, I cannot trust people. People keep betraying. It's a mirror. It's like, are you trusting your own self? And that person quite always and often say, I have a very bad track record with people. I have made so many decisions in my life in which have, completely tanked, which have been wrong decision, that I have now begun to doubt my own self, whether I'm capable of making the right decisions. Now, if you look at it, they are both the statements. The problem that they're describing are the two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
They're not able to trust themselves. How will they trust others? So, in order to crack this loop, when we do healing, which is stacked by like 200, 300 kinds of energy beams, we incorporate past life healings, we incorporate Akashic recording healings, we incorporate mm, generational traumas, ancestral bonds, plus your own uh, subconscious beliefs that you have gathered over this particular lifetime. And your mind moment we wash it with energy, the energy starts showing a different reality. It reveals to you something that was just hiding in the plain sight, things that you had forgotten very conveniently. The simplest of the thing that why you did what you did. You're not an idiot. And the revelation that maybe you did not listen to yourself or maybe you did. And everything you did was a consequence of your own actions, which have lots and lots of learnings together, stacked inside. So let's say there are people who are like forever contemplating in the past. That particular, had I cracked that particular exam, I would be an architect right now. Because I could not crack that exam, today I'm stuck in this worthless job, which is paying me peanuts. I'm not enjoying it, and I'm just slogging, and no uh, growth is happening. Now, if you go through this pattern, the pattern is pretty clear that this person does not uh, feels that he's in the wrong place. The person feels I did not do well enough or enough in my life to be deserving this trajectory or this course of life. But this is not true. The repeating pattern over here is I need to do more to be able to deserve better. Is that accurate? Barely, never, never ever. A far more can be achieved by doing lot less. But because you have created this loop in your mind that you have to do a lot to achieve a lot. Only by this way you could have achieved a lot. Because of all of those loops, you are stuck in a problem which you cannot escape. Because these people, they come back to me at the age when they're 40, 45, and then they narrate their story in, some kind of a flashback. Oh, I was destined for very big things and I was preparing for IAS or UPSC or medical or engineering. But for reasons unknown to me, I could not crack the exam. I just slipped or missed by a couple of grades. The last round of the interview, just couldn't crack this and that. Had those things happened with me, I would have today been at a completely different level. Now, this statement shows you do not believe you can be today better. You could not come up with a plan along the way that if plan A does not work, then what are the plan B, plan C, plan D options which were available for you to figure out the success. You were so hung up and stuck upon what was the best way, how you thought it would happen. You were stuck upon making it happen exactly in that same way, meaning you lacked emotional agility and you are inflexible and unmutable. So the entire pattern is a reflection on you. It was not that you were meant to fail.
That's Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that's so fascinating because your perspective reveals that what looks like a dead end, it's often just a misread signal. And I'd love for listeners to realize how much possibility hides in the place they have already dismissed. And also, you speak about root cause transformation within 24 hours. How's such rapid shifts to happen when traditional methods often take years?
So, see, the healing as I know it has many. So, see, you could be in a pattern because you absorbed some wrong information. So, for example, you may have listened to some motivational speech, and that motivational speech was all about never quit, never quit, never quit. Okay. And because you learned from all the motivational, speeches that you should not quit. You continue to be on the business or on the course of life, which was completely uh, mismatch for you because you thought I should not quit. Now, this is something that maybe is at a subconscious level, wherein from the outside world you have taken some conditioning in this lifetime, and that has thrown you off chart. So let's say there could be certain other situation when people are like, okay, fine, my career is not progressing in spite of me doing everything. Okay. I have shifted my careers. I've changed my lines of businesses or jobs. I have taken diverse subjects. I have done everything, but somehow nothing is clicking. And you speak to that person and you realize, okay, this person actually has the right programming. They have right thought patterns. They have all the capabilities and skills like knowledge. They're hardworking. They are very determined. They are not desperate, whatever. And then it forces you to think, oh my God, so what could be happening? And then if you delve into their maybe childhood or a deeper childhood, which created the character or the persona, which shaped them for this life, you may find some clue there, which means it is not at a subconscious layer, meaning it cannot be done by affirmations or coaching or, counseling. That the cause is much deeper. Those layers are not accessible by certain kind of tools. So, in order to deal with that, we give certain specific kind of Reiki energy to deal with the patterns. I would not call it as trauma, the patterns or the impressions that have gotten embedded into your system early in this childhood, early in this life childhood, which has which is now becoming a roadblock for your success. There could be a situation when someone from many previous lifetimes have been through something. It's like no matter what I do, I will always be a failure. And they're born as village idiots because that is what they have come to believe. And for them, the journey of this lifetime is to awaken and realize they are not idiots. Through many lifetimes, they may not have had been able to figure out something. That does not mean they still cannot. So that may require certain different kind of energy. When we work with the traditional systems of healing, counseling, coaching, affirmation, it's not that they are not working. It's just that they are working on one specific layer at one specific point of time. Which is why quite often people get stuck. It's like, oh, I have already worked on my childhood trauma. I did a therapy for this. I spoke to my therapist about it, and journaled about it, and I believe I have healed it. So, dude, who told you that by talking alone it's gonna get changed? That is not an appropriate modality to handle it. So when I say about 24 hours, what I mean is it's a full stack of energies which is gonna go from the very first time your soul uh, soul was formed, and all the lifetimes of journeys that you have traversed, plus the mm, ancestral imprints that you have gotten, plus the generational imprints you have gotten. Every era has got its own stories that people live by. For example, post independence, if you look at the India and the landscape of Indian people, these were the people who had barely, majority of the people had no ancestral savings or anything. That was, we were very fresh, new India. And the generation of 70s and 80s and 90s, they were all just slogging, just, securing a place for themselves and their future generations. They were not, well, majority of them were not in the space where they were creating wealth. Yes. Now, if you're born in that time versus a generation which is born in a prosperous time, a country or a phase or an era which is in a growth phase, the kind of beliefs or the kind of impressions you would create for yourself will be very different. So probably people in the earlier generation would feel life a struggle. If we will not work hard, we will not survive, which might be true for that particular time. However, people of this era may have a completely different frame of mind because this is a completely different generation. Now, in order to remove the imprints, not just the imprints from the mind, but even from the body. Yesterday itself, I was watching some content, and there was this conversation that uh, somebody from, I don't know, Harvard or someplace, they did some research, and in which they could prove by the four batches of mouse that how today's condition of diabetic, India being a diabetic country, has got nothing to do with the lifestyle or with the sweets or with the fried food we consume, but it has got everything to do with the famines which was created by the Britishers. Because that kind of scarcity triggered the body to store and store and store. And because they were so long, prolonged famines in, like, there were 25 to 26 times great famines happened during the British Raj. It is because of that today's generation is already prone to diabetic, and even if you eat well, sleep well, exercise well, even then you are still plagued by the same impression at the body level which was created 4 generations back. So if you want to, even if you're stuck in a health problem, so-called health problem, even then it has a root somewhere in your generation, in your blood, in your genetics. And if you will examine the genetics under the microscope, you will not see it. But the energy of scarcity has been passed down. The way your body has learned to behave has been passed down. The intensity of that emotion, if is not healed and not transformed into some other energy format, will already put you at risk to some predisposed conditions. So the whole thing is not, you did not just happen right now. This is not your first life. This is not the last life. Life is one continuum and everybody is connected with each other. The stories of other people impact us and our story is impacting the whole world still. If you want a collective, if you want a complete reset or a complete, I would say, ascension to your life, then you will have to work at multiple levels, not just at your psychology level, not just at your past life level. It is lot of layers in between. It's like how you cut a cake, a multi-layer cake, and you have to go from the top till the bottom in one go. Doing a healing work or a transformation which is complete and sustainable and never relapses and is also wholesome, that kind of cutting through all the layers is baked in into the process of the soul rebirth process, which I personally have created and blended. It is because of this process that we are able to do everything together in one go. So I wouldn't say that the traditional methods or other modalities are failing. I would rather say they are solving one part of the problem. And if you need more intervention or a deeper result, you will have to cut the cake, slice the cake completely.
That's so true. That's really true. And that really reframes healing from something heavy and prolonged to something very precise, strategic, and deeply aligned. And also, we have presented everything and said everything in such a beautiful way that it would be really easy for my audience to understand. And this is a wonderful conversation with you. And thank you for sharing your gifts with us and for opening a door into such profound transformation. And I think your insights don't just inform, they activate something when asked. And I think I'm really grateful for your presence and your wisdom and the powerful work that you are bringing to the world. And if after this my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
So there are multiple options available. We do have every Saturday night a group healing call. It's a traditional healing call with very high degree, vibrational energies. People can hop onto that call, or maybe they can, we also have a free clarity call. They can come over there, and maybe they can discuss what is keeping them stuck in their life. What is it that they want, and if at all they want to go ahead, they can discuss with me their journey map, and I can help them out from there.
Yes, and I will make sure to attach all these details and links below so that the listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you and know more from you because you are really a wonderful person. And to all my listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey into the extraordinary. If today's conversation starts something within you, an old wound, a new possibility, or simply the hope that you are impossible might just be solvable, take that feeling seriously and explore it. Act on it. Because breakthroughs don't happen in the mind, they happen the moment you choose to stay beyond what you have known. Stay curious, stay open, and keep moving toward your own rebirth. Thank you.